Hi, my name is Dr. Erica Steele, and I'm a holistic doctor in family practice. And today we're going to talk about building support networks, especially within minority communities. So, all this month, we've been talking about minority mental health and what people can do. And in my last video, I talked about really how we become almost hyper independent in minority communities. We're used to working really hard, we're used to being the person that people depend on. And unfortunately, because of a lot of our broken family systems from slavery, trauma, genocide, etc., a lot of times as a child, we are parentified. And so, what does that mean? That means that we don't have a childhood. We become adults far too early, whether we are taking care of a sick loved one, or we are taking care of siblings, or we are having to work or manage the responsibility of a household far beyond when we are mentally or emotionally capable or even developmentally mature enough to be able to handle those responsibilities. So then we grow up in life and we take that with us. We still become hyper independent. We don't need anybody. When people get close, we push away. I know for myself, it's been physically uncomfortable to allow people in to help, to allow people to support me simply because I'm so used to doing it alone and powering through and getting it done, especially being a product of two Marines. You adapt and overcome and you just make it happen. Well, that's not necessarily the healthiest of experiences. So I've really had to learn how to ask for help and allow myself to be vulnerable, really allowing other people to help support me. But that has been a practice. So, how do we build these communities around us, especially in America? It's like every man for themselves. This person's working over here, this person's working over here. And so really cultivating these support networks is, again, it's going to help nurture us in so many different ways. It's going to teach us about relationships, it's going to teach us how to be vulnerable, it's going to teach us how to set boundaries, etc. So I would say the first step in building a support network is establishing your core values. What things make you tick and talk? For me, it's innovation, authenticity, integrity, and structure. Those are my standard core values. I also can appreciate communication, but that's not particularly one of my core values. The reason that I put those as my core values is because those are the things that really how I operate. So all of my relationships are based off of that. If someone's not structured, especially with their time, that's not going to work for me. If someone's not authentic, that's not going to work for me. If someone, is kind of the old norm and they're not an innovative free thinker, again, that's not going to work for me. Doesn't mean those people are bad people, but having those core values really helps me determine who's going to be a good fit in my life. So now that I've determined the core values and I've started to build, or choose rather, because we're not even at building yet, we've established our core values and now we're going to choose to create communities. So communities can come from hobbies, from spiritual entities that we're a part of, from educational support centers, etc. So there's always this kind of thread that binds people together. I know whenever I've kind of done a new hobby or done a new sport or skill or something, I always tend to attract other people, and then I can sift and sort those people and go, okay, do these people fit my core values? I think in minority communities, it's important for us to look for communities within our community, but also we can extend to allow allies into our community, especially those people that are not trying to save us, right? We don't want that. Or people that aren't guilty because of whatever reasons, but people that authentically see us and are able to hear us and that they appreciate our gifts and our beauty for who we are and what we are. I think that's really important for an ally to understand. It's not about rescuing, it's not about fixing, it's not about, marching on the corner, and all of those things are great, but we don't necessarily need saviors. So it's really important that as we are engaging with allies in these different communities that we're building, we educate. And as an ally, being open and willing to be educated, because not understanding what it means to walk in the shoes of a minority is incredibly humbling, even for myself. I've discovered a lot of things that I did not necessarily initially consider as privileges until I started to see some of my other minority friends and family and go, wait a second, that wasn't my experience. And so if we really take our open minds, right, and we start to engage and listen and hear, that's going to really create more richness for us to build our communities. So if you want to be a part of my community, please follow me on all the platforms, TikTok, YouTube, subscribe here, and we will be building more and more and more communities as time goes on. If you need to go to Holistic Doctor, you know where to find me. There's plenty of links below, as well as some of our other courses that we're offering.